What's up, everybody? Today, it is the weekend. It's 20 of 20. Day 20 on this 75 hard thing I'm doing. Anyways, so today we're going to play Borderlands. I'm still sick. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. Now, today I've added a headache on top of whatever this cold thing is. So, looks like I need to maybe stretch this out a little bit here. So we're only getting some of the, this is a little more. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Just need to make it a teeny bit bigger. So maybe it'll fill up most of the whole screen. There we go. So, I mean, if you're playing along with me, right on, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how this is gonna go. If it gets too weird, I'll stop. I need another mic stand for this. I need the mic stand that, like the other one that I have when I'm drumming, because it like moves around a lot easier than this thing. Anyways. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't even know if there's any point in doing this one. Myself is a mess. I might just play and not really talk that much. I took a bunch of drugs, so hopefully, I took ibuprofen and hopefully that will help. I don't usually take stuff like that, so maybe it'll actually work. Alright, what do we got here? Looks like we got some class mods. I don't even know what my class mod is. Really, I don't really have any good shields there. I need to sell anything. Increased weapon stability. I'm not really sure if any of these guns are good. This is a part of the problem too that I have. I start becoming a pack rat. I should really sell that stuff off. You just never know when you're gonna need it or whatever, right? So, what are we doing? We need to go over there, cross bridge to. Okay. Oh yeah, we're going to get the AI core.
The Drakensberg's a juicy wreck, all right. X-style frigate, don't you know? It's stuffed with tech I could half-inch pinch. The bosun and skipper have been good at keeping me out, but now you're here, that's about to change.
Ready yourself. Badass. Heading our way. Aspen, protect me.
I really need to like redo this whole setup here for this. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. The kids are not here, so I should have a little bit more time. Of course, we gotta go do stuff today, but I think I need to get working on that trailer today. I think I need to change my schedule to where I'm doing the trailer every day till it's done. Do a little bit every day instead of doing like this one day a week. Because what ends up happening is I don't know if like Saturday comes around and I'm supposed to do it, but I'm so tired by Saturday. Like Saturday's the recoup day, right? Because Friday is like a 12-hour day usually. And now with 75 hard, I've been just really tired on Saturdays, you know, because the Friday takes so much out of me. Because it's 12 hours and then 2 workouts, you know, and a podcast and everything else. It's like, man, it's a lot. Yeah, yesterday I think I went to bed at 11. Got up at 3 a.m. and went to bed at 11. That's pretty much what it takes for me to do 75 hard. And so, you know, what I used to do is I would get a little nap here and there, but not anymore. So, but it's all right, you know, like everything hurts, and I think it's supposed to. You know, all my muscles hurt pretty much all the time now. I'm assuming that means that they're growing, you know. And with this cold, like my head hurts, my sinuses are all jacked up. It's not good. But today for the outdoor walk, we'll just do. My wife does like the outdoor exercise. My wife just walks around the neighborhood, so we'll go do that, I'm sure. When she wakes up, and then I don't know, the indoor workout, I might just do what we did yesterday. It was like a half hour of dumbbell lifting, and we did like a 15-minute core workout, which was with no weights, which is actually, I think, the best core work. It was the hardest core workout I've tried to do yet. Yeah, sorry. So I think I'll try to do that again. I might just try to do that every day. Because it's like you do like all these weird type of like different, they're not quite crunches, which is good because crunches are kind of hard, but they're like leg lifts and different stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually pretty good. Like I definitely couldn't finish it, you know, and that's what I need. I need something that I can't finish, that it gets so hard that I have to stop. I mean, that's my idea anyways, and then I'm like really working out my stuff, you know. Uh-oh, this isn't good. I probably can't change guns. Okay, I need a different guy to hit. He's gonna be resistant too, but maybe I can still get him. Where'd he go? Yeah. I need to put a fire gun in there. Need 2 fire guns. I can't have a. If I ran out of ammo, then die. But then the only gun I have is a freeze gun, and they're all resistant to freezing in this area. That's what I mean. Like you need to have the right gun, and I don't apparently. Let's see. Maybe should be using like this gun anyways. Let's try a fire gun though. Let's try that thing. Try a fire pistol this time. But you know, I've never really worked out my whole life. Like I've just done. I stay pretty active with my work, like what I do for a living. I'm a truck driver, yeah, but I don't. The type of truck driving I do is not. It's physical labor. It's not like what a lot of people think of truck. I mean, I'm not over the road. I may be driving the truck. Most days I'm driving the truck like 2 hours or 3. Well, I guess it'd be about 3 hours out of my, 8-hour shift, we'll say. Or, oh wait, I was gonna go back. Can I go? Oh, never mind. I'm just gonna keep going. Screw it. So yeah, if I got an 8-hour shift, I'm driving the truck 3 hours a day, except for one day. So one day I drive like 6 or 7 hours that day, and then the rest of it is you're getting out, you're running, you're unloading, lifting, moving, so, and the way that I work is I don't slow down. I try to go as fast as possible till I get stuck, and then I stop. But I'm only stopping when I get stuck. So, behind another truck driver or something like that, we'll say. That happens maybe like once a day, where I have to wait maybe 5 or 10 minutes for another truck driver to get received. It doesn't happen very often. I try to make it not happen at all, and I try to move my route around so that I'm not behind other drivers, just because I had my thing up, I thought. See, these flying guys always get me here. Man, I'm gonna die again. What about this gun? Yeah. I thought I beat that. Did I beat this part the other day? I thought I did. It wasn't this hard. I wonder what happened. Maybe my cold is getting to me. I suck now. I mean, I suck more now that I got a cold, I guess. Let's see, where's the... Yes. Oh, it put me right by the thing, so might as well just jump over there. I'd like to sell some of these guns off before my backpack gets full. Alright, let's try this again. There'll only be one guy left here. The guy that got me last time. Or 2 guys, I guess. Don't take off. Just stay on the ground. These flying guys get me. Alright, got that one. Alright. So I stay pretty active at work. It's not like I'm sitting around, but that being said, I never really have worked out. It was never like a hobby. I've tried it a couple times throughout the years and it never took. This is the first time that it actually really, not only am I working out, I'm learning how to work out in the correct way so that, I don't hurt myself, and I'm also actually working muscles. I tried to get a weight bench at some point, and it was just pointless because I don't know how to use it. I didn't know how to use it, or I did. But if I did know how to use it, I didn't have heavy enough weights, and so it wasn't doing anything for me. With these dumbbells, basically I have up to 50 pounds, and so, which I'm not doing 50 pounds. So I do 15, 20, or 25, depending on what the workout is. Sometimes, or depending on how tired I am. Because, when I first started, I was doing 25.
Ex-Star warship and all that crashed before the cracking, is what they say. Now a bunch of ripe-smelling scabs live there, led by the bosun and his friend, what's called the skipper. Not that anyone knows what she looks like, which makes your head scratch. Anyway, find a way inside and don't be shy to say hello to the locals on the way.
Yeah, anyways, it's like when I started, I was doing 25 pounds, and I was doing all right. But as time went on and my muscles got more tired and more tired, I started doing, 20 or like right now, since I'm sick, I'm just doing 15s on everything because it's just not. It's just a lot. But yeah, let's see. We don't need that. So this gun, even though it's fire, it's not really killing them that well. I wonder if there's another gun that would be better. Like if let's try this one again. Let's see how this one does at him. I felt like this one was pretty good last time I used it. But I don't know if yeah, see, that's a lot better. Even without the fire. It'd be nice if this thing had the fire. Somebody zapped me somewhere. Oh, this gun just takes forever to reload. That's what it was. But it does get them pretty good. So it might be worth it. I wish it had a little fire thing on it. Like that one there. That guy just died. If this one had a fire thing, those guys would be got a lot more. But yeah, this thing's working pretty good. So all I do is I look up on YouTube dumbbell workouts, and I've been doing like there's this channel called Juice and Toya. They're pretty good. They have advanced and beginners. The beginner ones, they will kind of teach you what you're supposed to be doing or feeling. In all their videos, they have a little diagram that shows you what you're supposed to be working out for these workouts. And so, like these channels get so many views. Like that is one thing that I need to learn how to do better is YouTube, because I do it anyways. It's like it's a hobby that I'm gonna do. I might as well get a lot better at it and be good at it. But I guess what I need to do is push my skills up to the next level. I've pushed and pushed and pushed. I think I'm okay at editing now compared to when I started. And and maybe that's the thing too, is that I need to start new channels instead of like my other channel that's just full of a bunch of crap, a bunch of different ideas throughout the years, a bunch of different stuff I've done throughout the years. And there's probably like different subscribers for that. So there's like, the first 100 that's just your family and friends or whatever. And then over time, it's like you gain one here, gain one there. So I'm working on cars for a while. And that's what I was doing. I was fixing up my Blazer. So I have a little bit of subscribers from that, maybe another 100, right? But they don't care about the appliances. So then I start doing the band thing on there, and then I get another 100 subs for that, right? So, and then I do appliances, and I get another 100 subs from that. So it's like I've got 4 different groups and 4 different YouTube channels in one, and it's probably not the best way to do it. If I had 4 different YouTube channels, 4 different niches or whatever, it's like maybe that would be better. And so that's why I made this one its own channel. And so I think that's what I need to do is separate them out. I think I need to leave that one as just the band stuff. So that one's GFP, and it'll maybe just be the band. I need to make another one and upload all my appliance videos to it, and then start doing my new appliance idea, which is going to be, well, I have 2. One is going to be strictly YouTube, and I fix the machines for the customer gets the machines for free. Essentially, they trade me their old machine for their old broken machine for a new fixed machine. And then my idea is I get a bunch of subscribers on YouTube to fund it. So YouTube, the views from YouTube pays for the parts and my labor, whatever that is. And basically people get fixed machines for free, whether that means I'm going in their houses and fixing them or not. And then my other idea is just a straight up in-home repair business, which I feel like I could eventually grow to make more money and be more, you know, beneficial to my whole family and to my community than what I'm doing with driving this truck. You know, because I have a lot of those skills needed to do that sort of work, and it's a lot higher skilled situation than driving the truck. So, you know, I should utilize that for my community, basically, is what I'm thinking. But it's just the way that I was doing it was it was just a problem for people, because it was like they, you know, you normally would get on a like a Craigslist type site, we'll say, classified site, and what you would go to somebody's house to buy a thing, right? Well, the problem is that I'm selling so many things, and I have young kids that I don't want. Sometimes people would come to buy these machines, and they're just weirdos, right? Like they're druggies, or they're just people that I don't want to know where I live. And so, but you can't tell by texting people how they are, you know, and so basically everybody's got to go to, when I first meet them, that it's just a security risk, and it's not worth the amount of money I was making to have that security risk to my family, that I would meet them in parking lots, which, you know, I've bought lots of things on this website, and I met people in parking lots all the time for things that were a lot more expensive than this to buy, and never had a problem with it. But some people do have a problem with it, and they think that you're sketchy. They think you're trying to screw them over. And even if I would explain, like, look, like, you know, I have kids, and it's just, like, I don't know you, you know, like, there's this situation. I think it was Elizabeth Smart way back in the day, where her parents hired this dude to, like, do yard work, and he kidnapped their daughter. You know, and it's just not worth it. Anything like that with my kids, it's not worth it. You know, I don't know what I would do. I can't say what I would do if that sort of thing happened. Like, you know, it wouldn't be good, though, that's for sure. So, but anyways, because of that, and then the other thing that I was doing is that doing installs is really difficult. So I just wasn't doing it. I was like, look, I'll get it to your front door, and you can get it in your house and install it. Well, once again, they're like, well, it makes them think that even if I'm delivering it and only taking it to their front door, that they think that I'm, you know, trying to screw them somehow, or like it's not going to work. Now, of course, they all worked. Like, they worked. So that's why I started filming the things in the first place, was to give people a video of what I did to their machine, so that they could, you know, so they could see and trust me. And that worked for some of them. That helped, I should say. And so that's good. So, but basically it's like I was still, then the next problem was working on the weekends. So, you know, I'm working and I'm working and working, and you know, I need days off. I get so tired and exhausted and worn out from working all these hours trying to help people all the time, and stuff falls to the wayside. Like my vehicles, I you know, I need to work on my vehicles, like, 'cause they break. I drive old vehicles and they need work, and I don't do them because on Saturday I'm out doing appliance stuff, you know. and not working. And so, what was that? Not working on stuff that I need to work on. So then I made a schedule. But the problem is if I follow the schedule, then I don't get enough work for the appliance business. This might be good. Even though it only says 17, it is a sub machine gun. So anyways, let's try it actually. Try it in place of that gun and see how it is. So anyways, it's like, okay, well, and then my kids suffer, and so the way that the business is here's the problems that I have. Getting the machines to fix is a problem. In order to get them, you got to be on it. When somebody puts their machine up, their broken machine up for sale, there's a lot of people doing this, and so you got to be there. You got to be out ahead of those people to get the machine. That's the competition part. Now, once you have the machine, you have a lot of time to fix it and sell it, basically, right? So, but getting the machine means you have to be working all the time. And then when it comes to selling the machine, this one not so much.
You look a little too much like trouble. How about you leave now and the bosun won't tear you to pieces? What do you say? Ha! Called it, didn't I?
Got a plan B, kid?
Glad you asked. The bridge has a manual override nearby. I'm uploading its location to your echo. Is that the squealing little thief pickle I hear? If you're with him, I've got half a mind to let you over here so I can pull your legs off and make you go jogging. Listen, you and the kids should stay away. That was your one warning.
So getting the machines is a problem, and then selling of the machines is a problem, but not as big of a problem. Basically, because you can schedule with people, and they'll deal with you a couple days. If it's like, well, they really want this machine, the deal's right, they'll wait a day or two to make it happen. So that's not that big of a deal. Plus, if they can't, then there's always another person who needs one, a day or two later. Like, I never had a problem with that. But so basically, the problems I have are customer trust. And, of course, you're gonna have that issue no matter what.
That was our only bridge, too. I need you to dump the methane from the reservoirs into the lava. We'll create our own path by cooling it off. This is gonna be ace. I'm warning you, kid. You and your pet vault hunter try any funny business and I'll wear your eyeballs as earrings.
So if I get a YouTube where I'm fixing the machines and putting videos up, it will help people, whoever needs to watch the videos, to fix their machines at their house or whatever, right? And then or other text. And then the other thing is that the people getting the machines will be more likely to trust me because they won't be actually buying these things. I think I have to go through that other area. And the YouTube views will be paying for it. And so it's kind of like, I feel like more people would win with this plan than lose, and then I wouldn't have to go get the machines, because the deal would be, if you don't have a machine to give me, then I'm not going to give you my fixed machine, right? And so they would either have to go get a machine, and that would be their part, or give me their old broken one. I know that's not going to be perfect, because sometimes people are going to be giving me machines that I can't fix, but it is what it is. So we still might have to do a little work on getting the machines or whatever. Do I need to go through here? Like, what am I supposed to do here? Maybe. It says it's down there, but this. No.
Just a bump in the road is all. I do have another bright idea, though.
I think our definitions of bright might be diametrically opposed.
The methane pumping station was shut down after the cracking. Explains why there weren't no methane in the reservoirs. We need to reactivate the pumping station. That'll do the job. And by we, I mean you.
So now the problem is, the problem would be is actually getting enough subscribers to get monetized, and in that beginning stage, we would need to, basically we would also need to advertise it as that so that we could get people to help us get subscribers, have their friends and family subscribe whoever they could, and hopefully the customers would also help out with that a lot. Like their role in it would be they get a free dryer, but they need to provide a broken dryer, and then they need to subscribe and get other people to subscribe. So that would be the idea there, and eventually we get to the point to where we could sell jobs. If people just really don't want to do all that or can't, and they just want to pay, they could pay. And so, but what we would have to do at first is they would just have to pay for parts. So we get a machine, or I get a machine and I fix it. Let's say I fix it for free. Okay, then I trade them out. I still have 2 machines that we could start this with. What is going on here? Oh, we're firing the thing again. Anyways, so I get these machines. So like the second machine, I gotta buy a part. What I do is just buy the part, and then whoever gets that machine, they're still gonna get it really cheap because they won't be paying for my labor. They'll just be paying for the part that I bought for that machine, right? And then I'll take that money and buy the part for the next machine, and then repeat until we have enough subscribers
Turning into an icicle.
that the YouTube pays for it. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes I don't explain things well, so people don't know what I'm talking about, but it makes sense to me. So basically it would be like radio. Like this is how radio works. It's free, but it still costs money to do. So like somebody has to pay for that. So how do they do that? They put on advertisements. Well, that's what YouTube is. So it would be it would kind of solve a lot, and I think it would be better in the long run for me, because I really do like working on the machines, and I like helping people, obviously. But what I don't like is doing that work and then sort of being accused of, the way people are, like, just not necessarily being accused, but people just being like, well, does it work? And they can be like, well, yeah, it does work.
Anywhere near the pumping station, and I've got a nasty surprise for you when I activate my turrets. Not a surprise, then, but something for you to think about.
Gotta remember to throw more grenades. Maybe I should use the other gun. Yeah, this one's getting them a lot better.
Shield up.
So the other idea that I have, if I haven't already talked about it on here, is to do a trade-up situation. So, and maybe I would need a new goal. Like first, I need to get all these cars fixed, and then the other thing too about this new way of doing it is that it's just gonna make my time better. So I want the weekends is the best time to get broken machines. You know, a lot of people don't work, and so they can actually put their stuff up on, Craigslist and try to get rid of it. Well, the problem is that I don't want to work on the weekend. Like I want to work on my stuff on the weekend, not everybody else's. I want to work on everybody else's Monday through Friday, and then the weekend do something else. Anyway, so the other thing I was thinking is what I might do, and I have a fridge that I think I'm going to try to do this with, is just trade it. So no money, just what do you have to trade me? And try to trade up and trade up and trade up to something a lot bigger. You start with something small and move up to something bigger, like monetarily wise, like maybe like a new iPhone. I could trade for this and then trade for that and trade for this and eventually get to the point. So I think I might do both of those things. That one wouldn't be helping people as much. I mean, maybe if you think about it, like we all have this stuff just laying around, and yeah, maybe people have money, but like when the people's appliances go out and then they're coming to get used appliances, they're not necessarily all the time just like super rich, But what they might have is like an old phone laying around in a drawer somewhere that they no longer use. Or something else that's broken that I can repair and make a video out of. I can make the video for people who need to repair their thing and, continue the trade up situation. Well, ran out of bullets. So what do we want to do then? Should we go back to this gun? I feel like it was better. Maybe we should try to rocket launch those things. Where is it? That one. This one's out of bullets. Let's try to rocket launch those turrets and see if that'll work. But I saw a guy running over here. That guy. Alright, let's see. I don't know if this will work. Yeah, that worked pretty good. I feel like that's what these are good for, stuff like that. So I don't know if it's really good for like killing guys like this. Maybe if they're holding still like that. Let's see, it just totally missed. Maybe their feet. Flyers. So I gotta be careful that these guys don't go behind me if they're flying around. That was my issue with the last area. They'd get behind me and I'd have my shield out and then they'd take me out. I couldn't see them because they fly over my head. I gotta go run up there and get some air. See when the bad guys drop these air canisters. Got two badasses over there. Oh, that's just an outlaw. So the other thing that the other idea that we're tossing around, or maybe we'll eventually get to, is like a laundromat, which might be all right too. You know, because we could just fix, like I could fix the machines. We could have that in the front, and be fixing machines in the back even. So it's like maybe, or just do in-home repairs or all of it. And then if we're waiting on a part, maybe the people we're working with, they can come use our machines there. Or whatever. I mean, it's like, the problem is that I don't have a passion for this stuff. Like, I'm not into appliances, but the stuff that I'm into is really hard to make money on. Like, music, okay? Well, I'm not that good at it. It's like, I know people do make a lot of money doing music, but they're usually pretty good at it. And that starts out as, they kind of, like, you want to play to your strengths, right? I mean, it's already hard enough. Business is already hard enough. Well, like, I do have a passion for repair and fixing things. It's just that now I have to do all this other stuff to make that work. Like, so I just need to readjust
I need you
the
to
other
turn on
stuff,
the
I
flow of
guess.
methane. There should be an activation console somewhere there.
Defensive scan.
And I guess the other plan is to just not do any of that and go back to school and just get a higher paying job. So I just need more money, to do the things that I want to do. It's like, I just don't make enough. And like, we're doing a lot. Like, homeschool is expensive, so I don't send my kids to school. And you gotta think, like, comparatively, that where it really costs us is where we can't both work full time, or we can't both work 2 jobs, to keep up. It's like everything is sort of based on 2 working incomes, and you can't do that because somebody's got to teach the kids. So it's like, yeah, it just doesn't work. It's too much to do. A lot of people that do homeschool, their wives don't even work at all. My wife works part-time. So if she was able to work full-time, it would make things easier. But she can't, and I can't send my kids to school because of the state of the school system. And people like it, and it's not as bad here, but I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't seem good. Like, the people that have people in my family that went to the school system, and yeah, and I went through the school system. It wasn't good for me. Like, I didn't get what I needed there. Like, there's a long story to that, but where's this guy at? See, I hate the flyers, because it's like I can't see him. There he is. And I think, like, we do a lot, and then I've added basically another class every day that I'm giving that are my strengths rather than my wife's, which I need to get more in depth on. And I may start another YouTube channel where we live stream those as we do them, and because I think that may help people out, because I have certain skills that that I do a lot of hobbies, like, you know, obviously this stuff, but there's also like video editing. You know, I use Final Cut Pro a lot, and another one of my hobbies is making vinyl stickers. I have a vinyl cutter. Like, I could be putting more content out for everybody, and even maybe even gear it to a homeschool audience. And like, when, you know, these homeschool moms and homeschool families need to learn this stuff, 3D printing, for instance. You know, like, I can do it from a homeschooler's point of view, rather than what a lot of these videos are, which are highly technical. You know, a lot of times when you're watching somebody 3D print, they're going to explain to you a lot of the technical stuff, and they're sort of geared more towards people like me rather than geared towards families and kids. And, you know, we could have my kids in there asking the questions that they have that we might not think about as adults, you know, and then that might help another family if they could watch my video or whatever. I don't know where the music's supposed to be going. It's supposed to be going over here. What is that? Oh, is that the moon again? How am I supposed to get over there? Or do I have to go that way to get over there? Yeah, 'cause this is a wall. Yeah, so looks like I might have to go around that way. But, you know, even if it could just help like our homeschool group, I know a lot of them are already 3D printing, and, you know, we got the laser engraver now too that we're going to be working on in that computer class. So basically once a week I'm doing a computer class for the, you know, for them, and so because they got to learn how to use computers. So let's see, we do computer class, and then, which is all that kind of stuff. What was on Mondays? I can't remember. It seems like I have it written down somewhere, but like Fridays we're doing like a financial class, and in that it's like I'm going to be learning along with them. Sundays I'm doing music, but I'm not really doing, it's not really a class. It's like they have their piano, like they do simply piano, which is working really well for one of them, and the other one figured out how to cheat, and so I'm gonna have to work with him individually again. But basically what I did is I taught both of them the proper techniques of like where to put your hands and stuff like that, and then how am I supposed to get over there? What am I missing here? Basically, they both do that, and one of them I think is doing the app, and the other one just kind of cheats it. Am I supposed to like get up there? How do I get up there? Oh, here we go. So I need to work with him. But then, so Monday, I don't know what we were going to do on Monday.
What you're up to, kid. Probably won't work if I fill your vocabulary with bullets.
I don't think I have anything set for Wednesday. And then Thursday is going to be some sort of like vanity hobby. And it will change all the time. Like right now we're doing electronics. And so the first week we did Arduino and snap circuits. If you want to teach your kids about electronics, start with the snap circuits. They're pretty cheap, and they explain the concepts so they can start to get it. And they're fun to do. It's kind of like Legos a little bit, but I mean not. But I mean the whole. Of course, that's a badass dude. It's like they put together the circuits on a grid, so they're kind of learning how to follow instructions, you know, and build. It's, you know, I don't know, 300 different circuits or something like that comes in the kit, and basically they can just they can do that on their own, or you can do it with them or whatever. So the Arduino, you can get different kits for that, and depending on how you want to do it, you can either go through it with them, or we have one that's called 30 Days Lost in Space, which it's all right. I mean, I don't like it's expensive for an Arduino, and I don't necessarily like how they do it, because you watch a video, and the videos are too long, and then after the video, you basically do the thing, right? And I think, at least for us, we could probably do without the videos, because they're just kind of like, they're kind of about a lot of things, like they're about the storyline of the deal, which it's just, yeah, it's not just like, here's how you do this, which I guess the idea is good. It would be kind of fun to have like the story, but it's just hard for me to get through. I think he's all right with it. The kid is good with it, but it's hard for me. So it's hard for me to, hang around and then teach him it or whatever. Then it's hard for him to remember what he's supposed to be doing, because it's like the video is too long. And so, yeah, then he's got to code it or program it or whatever. So, but that's a good way to do that. And then when it warms up a little more, we'll start adding in metalworking and woodworking, welding. Like I've already got the oldest one welding a little bit, but he needs to do a lot more. And just, these things that we kind of used to teach and used to want to do, but it doesn't seem like people really like or want to do this stuff anymore. And them included, all they want to do is play video games. Which I think there's a time and place, but they got to learn balance.
I'm loving it large, mate. Keep it up. The flow ain't getting through. Get to the methane treatment plant and transfer it. Try to see what the deal is.
This guy's glitching out, isn't he? He's stuck there. Yeah, he started moving now. So Fridays is going to be financial class, and it seems like I had something else there too. Like, and then, I need to start teaching. They need to start learning, like, what's it called? No, I can't think of what it is. They start learning lots of different stuff. They need
My best men, Vault Hunter.
I promise you, that sounded better in your head.
basically need to boost all their stuff up until they're ready for, adult life, or try to get them ready as much as I can. Or college or whatever. I mean, that's the other thing too, is that I need to make a lot more money to get them into college if that's what they end up doing. Like, I don't even know how the world is going to be then. The way that things are and the way that they change all the time is like it's not super, it's not really looking like college is going to be useful for anybody. It doesn't really look like it's that useful for people now. you know, they get in crazy amounts of debt. And I mean, it's just like, what does it do, really? Teach you how to do what you're supposed to do or whatever. Teach you how to do your job, but then what? Then you get out, you're in crippling debt, so it's really hard to build wealth. You know, maybe with the stuff going on right now, like if they could get a tariff system to work like they're trying to. Oh, that ain't good. He knocked me off the bridge. Man, I've died more in this stream than I have in the whole series. The whole time I've been playing. I don't know what the deal is. I guess I'm just too sick. Not paying attention, trying to think and play. Yeah, hopefully I get better soon. But I mean, you know, it's like you don't even know if college is good. Like, it doesn't really seem to be. It seems like people go in there, you know, a lot of people will go in there with their kids will go in there with these values that they've been taught their whole lives, right? About how to be in the world and stuff. And they come out with a septum piercing and, you know, they're like just full blown leftized. And look, it's like, that stuff is not good. You know, it just isn't. I think we need to figure that out as a society. We need to realize that
I'm icing up here.
that it is a control tactic. You know, and it's like you're not going against the grain anymore. Like, you're not going against the system. Like, they're controlling you. At times it's like they seem to think what's good is bad and what's bad is good. You know, and I'm like, how did this happen? What's good for you, you know, freedom and so forth is, oh, I gotta go up there rather than across that. You know, if we could be free up to the point to where we're affecting other people, I feel like that would be good for everybody, you know, so to some extent. I mean, the problem is once you're affecting other people, that's a problem. So, you know, people are like, you know, they vote on the right for abortion. So, well, you got to think about, like, why would the left want abortion? Like, if you can sit back and think about it, they will tell you it's because of women's rights, right? But, like, I offer another solution. Like, they're the ones that are always talking about population control. You know, abortion being legal is like the most racist thing I know that exists. I mean, it's basically geared towards, in this country, like a certain segment of the population.
Raced and red.
And yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a genocide? I mean, you know, what is the saying? There's a saying about slaves. It's like the best kind of slave is the one who believes that they're free or something like that. So basically, the idea is that the slave will enslave themselves, so you don't have to, and they think they're free.
I'm turning into an icicle.
Right? And so you don't have to, they're not going to try to break their chains because they think they're free. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's what's happening with abortion, is that people think that's a good thing for them, and it's not. Even if you're into the exceptions. You know, if you're like, well, what about the exceptions? Okay, well, it's like less than 1% of the actual things that happen. So even if you leave exceptions legal, you know, it's like,
My shield will not fail me.
it's like, well, you guys are selling your country. You know, you're not thinking this through of what what you're actually doing to everybody by letting these people do what they're doing. You know, by voting them in, and like we don't even know what they're doing. They write a bill, it's 30,000 pages, and it's like, well, what are you guys trying to do? You know, why does it need to be that complicated? Nothing's that complicated. It doesn't need to be. So the reason that it is so they can put a bunch of other stuff in it. You know, a bunch of other ways of sending Ukraine money or Israel money or whatever. And it's like, well, because then, I mean, you allegedly, then they get paid on the back end, allegedly, right? Those specific politicians that vote that stuff in. So, and it's like, of course they do. Like, that's what people do. They're like, well, I'm trying to make money. You know, people are trying to make money, and that's how they do it. So if you vote them in, but you know, what about all this other stuff? What about like, you know, the genocides of many nations over the years? That's what I mean. Is like, you don't have to have population control if you can get your population to believe that what they're doing is the way to be. Can we get this one? Guess we can get that one now. Then we can move up to these. That one won't help us because we're going to do single player. Anyways, it's like it would be way easier to get population to control the work if you get your citizens to do it for you. You know, you don't have to line them all up or put them in camps or whatever, like they're talking about. Of the two parties, the ones that I see that are actually successful in killing off the people is the left with abortion. You know, and like people on the left.
Now, you ain't afraid of heights, are you?
Nope.
Try looking up top for the valve.
People on the left don't even think they're killing people when they do abortions. They think they're just, you know, taking out a tumor or something.
Defensive
And
stance.
it's like, well, that isn't a tumor. That's not the same thing, you know? Well, a tumor is a clump of cells, so I guess. I mean, look, this isn't medical advice. I'm no medical expert. But it's like, you gotta look at the concepts a little bit deeper. Look at that guy again. Like, why did this game get harder? Explain that to me. Little scavenger beast with no rider. Dropped again.
I'm out of ammo.
You know, and like, I'm just done. I'm done holding back. I'm done not saying what I think. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to continue to do this podcast. How did I get 24 moonstone? I almost want to go back now and do an upgrade. Didn't I need 20 for the next upgrade? Maybe we'll finish this mission and then go back. But anyways, it's like, you know, you can't fall for it.
After that last lot of losers, you better send someone a bit harder.
Good point. Honey bunches, send our meanest prisoners into grind or turn to meaty dust.
He's already on it, my love.
Stop giving the enemy tactical advice.
Got a bit carried away.
You know, even the taxes thing, it's like, why would you vote in politicians that want to raise your taxes? You know, they say they want to cut them, but it doesn't seem like they ever do. I think I've heard them say that they want to cut taxes and then they don't. But like, you know, Trump did cut taxes last time. He made taxes easier for us to all understand. He raised the, what do they call it? He raised the standard deduction. So, you know, and it used to be I didn't know what that meant, but no, it's like so less people have to itemize in order to get the maximum amount of tax relief, essentially. The maximum amount of deductions. They don't, they might not, before they might have been leaving money on the table.
Punish the Vault Hunter!
You raise that standard deduction, and they don't have to do a bunch of work on their taxes to have the most amount of deductions, I guess, is the way I understand it. This isn't legal or tax or medical advice, so don't take it that way. I gotta say that for the robots, because they pull my videos down. If I don't, 'cause that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, why would you vote for higher taxes? We see how these people use our taxes. They don't, there's a road near me that for the last 3 years has been so potholed up, and I know this isn't a federal issue, but it's the same thing. It's so potholed up that people just stop driving down it. I just stopped driving down it. I feel bad for the people who live over there, because it was just like it was a lot worse than like a gravel road. And so, like, big deep potholes. Well, it took them 3 years to start working on it. Now, part of the issue is that it happens to be right on the border between two cities. And I've heard that it can be hard for those roads to get fixed because one city will blame the other one, and the other city will blame the other one, and they can't. Well, it's like, why don't you guys split it? 50-50. It's like, get together and figure it out. Oh, because you're just, like, what do we pay you for? We pay you so that if we have trash in our yard, you can come find us. Like, that's going to get done. That'll get done before that road will get fixed. If I speed, then I pay you to give me a ticket. Like, that'll get done. There's no victim, Like, maybe there could be in the future. Speeding isn't great, but if I speed or run a stop sign and I don't hit anybody, there's no victim. But I guarantee I'll get that ticket. That'll get done. So it's like, until last year, they really weren't fixing the roads around here. And I'm just like, why do we pay taxes? I'm sitting here trying to start this small business and get it going. And when you do a small business, you see your taxes. You have to see them because you have to save for them. You don't have an employer saving on your taxes for you like we do with our jobs. And by the way, isn't that convenient for them too? Because then we don't actually see it. People don't even know how much money they're paying in taxes. They might see it per check, But who's actually adding that crap up? Well, I am, like I did, and it's not good. It's like, how much more I could do if I didn't give that money to the government, and what are they doing with it? I know a lot of people and have known people over the years who are just they're just on the welfare system, and that's basically what they do. That's their career, is welfare. They don't have jobs, so they just stack up their EBT cards or whatever, and it's like, look, we have a problem with felons. People who get felonies, we need to find a way to forgive the ones that get better, the ones that stop committing crimes. We got to find a way. There's got to be a system, because people get better, they stop committing crimes. It's still super hard for them to find a job. People do get better. People do learn. Like, we need to forgive and let them work. Maybe put them on a longer probation period, like a 2-year probation period at a given employer. And I know that's hard, but basically they become a problem. So it's like, the school system. Like, I don't feel comfortable sending my kids to school for a lot of reasons. So I have to pay that tax to pay for a school system that I don't agree with. I don't even agree with it for other people's kids. You have to worry about what your kid is being taught. They're not just teaching math and whatever. Like even when I was a kid, they were teaching us like about global warming, not like this might be happening. They were like, global warming is definitely happening. And like, you look at when you look at the actual way that they're figuring that out, it's like, well, maybe it is. Maybe there's some other explanation. Maybe it's not happening at all. Like, it's so massive that maybe you guys are just like having a hard time understanding what's going on. Like, which is understandable. But there's no definite proof to anything. I mean, that I've seen. Maybe I just don't know. I don't know, but it's like, why are you teaching kids that anyways? What's the point? What is the agenda in teaching kids these theories? You know, even evolution. That's a theory. It's not proven. You know, people who say it is, they're just indoctrinated in their own religion of science. Science is just as much a religion as Christianity or any of these other religions. You know, like they're all religions. It's not what you think. There's a lot of faith in science, and you would say, well, maybe there shouldn't be. There shouldn't, but with things like that, the Big Bang Theory is taught as fact. Like I remember thinking that it actually happened. Nobody was like, this is a theory. And theory is in the name. Big Bang Theory. It means it's not proven, you know? But that's what they teach. And it's like, well, you know, you guys, that isn't necessarily true. Like, are these guys just going to keep coming? Like, 'cause so why don't we teach what is true? You know, like we teach math and language and all that stuff. The stuff that they actually need to be learning. You know, and then the other thing is just how inefficient the whole system is. Because it's like you're not, and it's really hard to get 30 kids to be kind of on the same wavelength, so to speak. You know, some of them are going to be ahead and some are going to be behind. Like my kid was way ahead. He went to kindergarten for a little bit, and he was just too far ahead for. Well, I mean, we had basically taught him kindergarten before he went to kindergarten. But we misunderstood what he needed to know before going in, and that's another thing is that he was very well capable of a lot more actually than what they were teaching. You know, like my kids, you know, that I don't know that every kid that goes to kindergarten is writing. You know, my kids are well into writing by the time they're kindergarten age. I don't know what the standard actually is or whatever, but alright, now what are we doing? Cruising around here. Turn in the turret, turn in the methane turret over to here. I'm gonna slam it into there, I guess.
That's marvellous. Now, get back to the bridge and turn on the main flow.
My best men will gladly meet you there, Vault Hunter, to boil you in the juices of their skill.
You're creepy, mister. I thought the last ones we killed were your best men.
No, we've got more.
Oh, right.
I see a chest over there. Can I get to it? If I do it right here, and I don't make it, then I can land on that thing. But yeah, it's like I still have to pay that tax. So, you know, it's like, and there is like some, what's going on? Oh, I ran out of freaking air. Let's see, I guess I gotta go down there. I love how you can just jump off of everything in this game and you don't die. You know, so I gotta pay that tax still, even though I don't necessarily use it. And I know that that's not how taxes work, but that's like the issue, right? Is that's the communist part of it. Like I can understand the roads, the police, the fire, the military, you know, maybe some other things, but like my vehicle, for instance. It's like, why, you know, you have to get the inspection, okay? If it needs to be inspected, if that's what we all want to do as a society, we want to inspect cars, make sure that they're safe or the emissions, fine. Like, I get it, you know, I get it. So why not just have that? Why do I have to have that and just some fees? And by the way, you know, this is always interesting, is that you go to pay your vehicle registration, and some of that money goes to pay for public transport. Now think about this, okay? I know it's difficult to think about, but I'm registering a car. Means I'm not very likely to ride the bus because I have a car. That's how it works here. I don't know how it works everywhere else, but you know, some places you still might use public transport sometimes. Not a big deal. But it's like, you know, if public transport was like Uber, you know, like we have that, or whatever, Lyft, like it's going to be more money. But if you had public transport that was more like a bus situation, it could probably be less money, because Uber and Lyft, it takes a lot. You have one passenger for one driver, right? And I know that it might seem like those cars probably get better gas mileage, yeah, but really most of the time what you're paying mostly for is labor, right? So you have one driver and one passenger, and that's pretty inefficient. But they're getting a lot better of a result, because you don't have to go find a bus station. But you still could have private buses, and I have a feeling that those private buses would be a lot less money. And so the grand scheme of things is that we all pay our taxes or whatever, right? And no matter how they do it, we're paying for those buses. And the people that ride those buses are paying, you know, they pay their fare, but their fare is not enough to cover the whole program. So basically, as a society, we are all paying for those buses. So should we pay for them inefficiently, government run, which we all know government run stuff just isn't going to be as efficient as the private sector? Or should we just move it to the private sector? You know, it's gonna be more efficient, especially if you get some competition. You know, and I don't know exactly how to do that, but there are smart people around. So, you know, it's like there's ways to solve these problems. Or even if we leave that one, public transport stays. You know, the other things, police, fire, military. But like, why do I need to be taxed on what I make, what I sell, what I drive, what I own, what I buy? It's like, at some point, this isn't freedom. And so, why? Like, and how do we find a better way? You know, the interesting thing is that cutting taxes might shrink the government, and it might. Oh, this ain't good. I'm gonna die again. Oh yeah. It might shrink the government, okay? And like that's a good thing. Businesses can produce economically, and so what I mean by that is that if they can create a profit, they're actually like creating abundance. Alright? Now, these concepts are difficult to understand, and I think that's why most people don't. Government cannot create abundance or a product. It cannot further our situation along. Only private business can do that. Governments, communism is always a downward spiral, just by definition. It can never go upwards. It's not the way that our system is set up. Capitalism if left alone in the right ways, will always be an upward progression. If you get in and you start regulating capitalism, that's where you run into issues, which is what they've been doing. These are the issues that we're having. So basically, the reason is that the government is funded by the people, and they can never provide enough help to those people, enough cheap ways because there's no competition. The competition and the lack of the monopoly in the capitalist system is key. Because what you end up having is, if you have two or many more companies doing the same things, somebody's going to figure out how to do it better because they're fighting for the clients. So if they figure out how to do it better or cheaper, then more clients will go to them. Now that they've figured that out, guess what? The other company copies them. This happens all the time. And then, so now both companies are back to the same level, but they've actually lowered. So they're more efficient, they're cheaper, the people that win, everybody wins. The company wins and the people win, okay? So everybody gains in that situation. With communism, there is no competition or reason to find a better way, and it's actually compounded. But since there's no competition, the government doesn't need to find a better way. If you go to the DMV, the government doesn't need to worry about you waiting because it's the law. So it's like, if you don't do these things, then you're going to have to pay a fine. And so you're going to sit there for 2 hours, right? If you need your driver's license stuff done, you're going to sit there for an hour and nobody cares. Imagine if you went to the grocery store and you had to wait in line for 2 hours. You would never go there again. You would go to the other grocery store. Now the other grocery store would be like, hey, I know how to figure out a way that you don't have to wait in line. You know, the stuff that we are doing at the DMV is not difficult. You're not, you know, the difficult part is that they don't have enough people to help the amount of people. That's the difficulty, right? And it's better now than it ever has been. I remember the nightmare it was when I was a kid. It was like way worse. But, you know, still they don't have that competition. If it was in the private sector, you would not be waiting. You'd be in and out of there so fast. Well, in fact, I can prove it because all those people that go to the DMV, they also need to go get their vehicles registered, or inspected, right? Well, if you go get your vehicle inspected, the most you're going to wait, at least the most I've ever waited, is like 10 minutes. I go to the DMV, the most I've ever waited there is like 2 or 3 hours. Now, it's like the same people are going to both places, the majority. Obviously, there is going to be some other things happening, like dealers are going to be going to the DMV and they're going to be doing their dealer stuff. Typically, they have one dealer teller there. Like, I always see the dealers at the same place. And so, you know, there's the two systems. It's like your private system, your capitalist private system is going to be at war, essentially, with another company. And that war is going to benefit the two companies and the people. If you have a monopoly or a government running any specific set of business, since there's no competition, you have to go there anyways. If you have to wait 2 hours, you still have to go there. If you have to, because if you don't go there and get your vehicle registered, then the cops are going to harass you. I mean, think about exactly what I'm saying here. This isn't like that much different than like mob rule, or like what these criminals have done. Like pay for protection. If you don't pay us, then we're going to fine you. I mean, it's like, how did we get here? The police shouldn't be here for that. They should be here to like make things safe, right? Well, your vehicle not having its registration, here in Utah and a lot of other states, they don't have safety inspections on vehicles anymore. And there's no data to point that I've seen that safety inspections do anything. It's like, so, and I mean, I don't know if since we stopped doing safety inspections, there's been any more or less issues. Like, I do see a lot more people driving around without tail lights, but and I'm a truck driver and I see that stuff. It's like I'm on the road a lot, and so but I can still easily see them. Nobody's rear-ended anybody, even without those tail lights and supposedly driving around completely unsafe. They're still able to do it. You know why? Because the other cars have headlights, so it works. It still works. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot more to this than obviously we know and are able to talk about, but it's just who is losing. This is what we got to figure out: who's winning and who's losing. When we do things like what the DMV is, who wins and who loses? Well, the government wins and we lose. They get money for nothing, or very little, and we get what? We don't get a negative, If we go and register our vehicles, then we don't get pulled over. We don't get harassed by the police. It's like they have provided a negative, and if you go comply with their negative, then you get a neutral. You're not getting a positive out of this situation. How is paying the registration fee helping any of us? And here's the other point of view, is that they've even now allowed the inspection places and you to just get your registration online. The inspection places can do it right there. They can give you a sticker. So you go get your vehicle inspected. Takes 5 or 10 minutes. There's no safety, so they just plug their machine in and run through the emissions. And then what happens is they give you your sticker right there. It's usually like $10 extra. For somebody like me, it's like that's way better for me to utilize my time in that way rather than going to the DMV. I know I could just do it online, but it's $10. Look at that. That's the private sector winning. It's like I'll pay the $10 and I don't have to deal with it. They put the sticker on my license plate for me, right? I don't even have to do that. I don't even have to get out of the car a lot of times. They just plug their thing in and go. And so how many years and how many hours of everybody's lives was wasted standing in line at that DMV to pay that fee that does what? It pays for public transit. Think about this, right? You're driving a car and you're taxed on your car to pay for other people to not drive. And I know there's other things that go into that tax, but it's like the irony of that situation is amazing. It's amazing that we've done this, and nobody looks at it. Nobody's going to look at their receipt. They're just going to be like relieved that now they don't have to be looking over their shoulder all the time to wonder if they're going to get pulled over because they don't have their registration, It's just and like we don't need that extra part. That extra part of paying the DMV, I'm not convinced does anything for those people. The initial part of them paying the inspector, we could just pay the inspection place and they could just put the sticker on. Okay, well, how much does the sticker cost? All right, well, charge me for that. How much does it process in the DMV system that I'm good to go now? Okay, well, charge me for that. It's like on a new car, you can't tell me that that's what they're charging for. It's not. It's just a revenue stream. And like, look, I don't have the numbers, but it's like that's just one example of how far away we've gotten from like a good situation in this country. Because it'd be like if I was paying all these taxes and everything was great. I'm driving around. I'm able to let my kids just go walk around. Like I'm able to let them just go play in the world and feel safe about it and not have to worry about all this stuff that's going down. Then it might be useful. It might be worth it. But that's not the case. Okay, I pay all these taxes. My roads are still jacked up. They've gotten better this year, but before that, okay, so it's a negative. If like I can't just let my kids go do whatever they want because I don't know what's going down. There's stuff that goes down around here a lot, and that's my fault because I didn't excel economically in my life thus far to go live in a safer neighborhood. But if I'm paying all these taxes, How come my neighborhood isn't safe? You know, that's what I'm paying for, isn't it? Shouldn't that be expected? Shouldn't that be what we're paying for with the police? Well, the answer is no. That's not how it works. They show up after the problem happened. You know, I know they do a lot of preventative stuff too. And I would say here it's probably better than a lot of places in the country, but it's still a problem. It's not perfection. It's not even a high standard. It's like, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that goes down around here that shouldn't. So if I paid all that tax and my roads were great and my city was great and everything was great and there wasn't really a homeless problem and I didn't have to worry about this stuff, then yeah, it might be worth it. But that's not the case, you know. And so essentially, if I was paying for all those services, I would feel like I was being ripped off. And that's kind of the way we should be looking at it, because that's what's happening. You know, the school system. I shouldn't be paying to send my kids to school so they can learn about politics. You know, we had a teacher here, and I'm sure she got fired, I don't know, but she was basically telling her students that all their parents were idiots because they voted for Trump the first time or the second time. I can't remember which, but it was a big old story. Okay, well, that's a one that we found out about. How many teachers are out there right now telling kids this stuff? And I had it happen to me when I was in school. You know, these teachers would be all up on their high horse, and they had their college degrees, and they were like, basically, if your parents didn't vote the way I did, then they're stupid. Or, you know, my teacher never said that, but she did. This one teacher I had, she told me a lot of lies about the politics system and the way it should be. She was basically a communist and down for communism, and she, you know, was unapologetic about it. And if I wasn't sort of smarter, I might have agreed with her or thought that way, rather than actually looking at the sort of the data, you know, which there hasn't been a better country that I know of when this country was in a free state, you know, in a totally capitalistic state, not like we have now. This isn't totally capitalistic. It's capitalism, but it's hindered by government. It's got a... I need to go get ammo. I don't know how the best way to explain that is, but it's like... It's basically Cairo freeze or whatever. Get here, I'm gonna die now. There's not gonna be any guys around.
I'm out of ammo.
I'm screwed. But yeah, basically it's like, you know, those teachers shouldn't be saying anything one way or the other. Teachers shouldn't be telling kids that communism is good or that capitalism is good, unless that's the idea of the class. If it's some sort of financial class, you know. And by the way, if it is, then they better be using data to figure that out, not somebody's agenda. And it's like, that's the issue right there, is that everybody has their own agendas, and instead of using curriculum, you know, they add in their own little twists. And it's not even just that the parents might not agree with those twists. It's like you might be going directly against what somebody's trying to raise their kids to be. And in college, it seems to be that that's the way. Seems like that's the way that it is. And so people go into college and then they come out completely changed for the worse, you know, financially and mentally. So, yeah, it's like, how am I supposed to send my kids to that? I just can't. We're better off finding the other way. And I think they're better off too. And I mean, it's hard. Every day is a new struggle. It's like, because they don't want to listen. They don't want to do it. It would be a lot easier to just be like, well, here, teacher, deal with this thing, deal with my kid, because I don't want to. I'd rather just work or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna sell all these guns that I'm not using anyways. Maybe I'll keep a cryo here or there. Not really using this one. But it's like, so how do we get to a state where if they're gonna tax us this much, then we expect a good service out of our government? But it just can't happen. That's the point, is that if you have a system, if I had a business where you had to buy my business, why would I get better? That's the point that I was saying from the beginning of this. They have no incentive to get better. And it's really more like they have an incentive to get worse, because people are just people. They're just like lazy. Then generally we are lazy and we're just finding ways to get out of work. Well, if there's no consequence to that, if you're a private business and you try to find ways to get out of work, well, people are going to stop paying you. They're going to stop using your service. Like you have to help them. That's the only way you're going to get called back, right? And that callback business is crucial. The return business is crucial because you spend a lot of time and effort and probably money on marketing for that initial set of business. So if you can make a good impression, then you don't have to market, and that's just profit. If you don't have to market again for new customers and you get that repeat customer, and then not only that, but if you can get that customer to really buy into your business, then they're going to tell their friends. So now you actually have positive marketing. So how do you spin the DMV positively? Nobody's running around being like, man, I'm so glad I went to the DMV. I'm so glad that wasn't a big waste of my time and my life. Like, everybody hates that crap, I mean, unless maybe like the occasional weird title issue on a car or so forth, where they actually are a help, maybe that would be different. But it's like you could have that and you could shrink down the DMVs to like one, where it was just dealing with dealers and that sort of thing. And it would be way better for the people, and that would be fine. But it's like the system we have now, there's multiple DMVs. I drive clear across town to go to the slower one. I probably drive past it. I drive past at least one to get to the one that's less busy. And it's actually faster. So think about that. It's faster for me to drive across town to go to that one because it's better managed. It's just better the way it works there than the other one. I mean, it used to be anyways. I don't know if that's still true or not, but so that's the way it is. And I mean, it's like, when are we going to really wake up and realize that they're just trying to keep us down with taxes? And I mean, it's obvious. They don't need that much. If they're sending money to Gaza and Ukraine and Israel and everywhere else in the world, if we're out here helping all these other countries out with our wealth, then imagine what that would do if it was actually put back into our infrastructure. Imagine what that money would do put back into the American people. If you cut taxes, imagine the economy we would have. Bringing manufacturing back to the States. It's like we buy all this cheap crap from China. Usually if it's made in America, it's not cheap. I mean, it's expensive, but it's also good. And that's something that, I've learned most recently is if you can buy things that are good, they're going to last and be good, and it makes sense. But sometimes you just want to cheap out. Well, it's probably the worst way to go, because the thing breaks. Then you're buying another one, and then that breaks, and you're just repeating this process. Well, then we're filling up the landfills with this broken stuff, and so forth and so on. It's like, well, if we could just buy good, decent quality American-made in the beginning, you might be able to make that thing last a lot longer or your whole life. And it would be less of a waste, and it might even be cheaper at the end of it. In the beginning, it's more expensive. Like, I have tools that I have abused the crap out of. But since they're good quality tools, they can take it. I have drills that can take a hit, and multiple hits, or I could drop them daily. I could drop them off a roof or something, and they still work. It's like 'cause they're just quality built. They're expensive, but they're quality. You know, so it's like you know, and it should there should be levels to everything. If you're gonna be using your drill on a professional level, you're gonna need a professional tool. If you're gonna be using it once a year, then maybe you need a cheap one. But my point is that you know we don't manufacture. We have these issues like when COVID happened, where we couldn't get the stuff because it needed to come across on a boat, and they were having all these issues at the ports. Well, you know, if that stuff just needed to be moved from a warehouse to the stores, like the truckers would have done that. There wouldn't have been an issue. You know what I mean? Most truckers are held back on what they can actually work by the government. And probably rightfully so, because then they don't fall asleep at the wheel. But, you know, still, it's like for times like that, you could have, you probably, if that stuff was being produced here, we probably wouldn't have had the problems that we had. You know, rather than not just trying to get it from everywhere else. And maybe that's, you know, the point. And it's also like if we're growing our own economy rather than a global economy, it's like what the money is going back into Americans' pockets. The rotation of it, you know, is and what that actually means is not about money, it's about service. Money equals work. This is another concept that doesn't work with communism, because you can't just give money away. You can't just print it. There's always a consequence. And the reason is because money isn't actually anything. It's green pieces of paper. It's what it represents that matters, and it represents work. So if you don't have the work at the beginning of it, then it is worthless. And that's what happens. When you print money, it makes it worth less. It's just the way it is. Because you don't have work to back it. You don't have service. What is work? Work is service to our fellow man. You know, God sees that. That's what that is. You can ask any business owner that's successful. They're not going to tell you they're making money. They're going to tell you they're helping people. It's two totally different concepts. The money is a byproduct of work. The money is a stand-in for work, which is really just service. And service to people is really what we should all be doing, right? So when you go to the DMV, the government, you don't feel served. Nobody feels served when they go there. You go to the grocery store, you may or may not feel served, you know. But that's it. Or any other type of business, you know. You may or may not feel served, but that's what they're doing. That's the point of that, right? Or that's what they should be doing. So yeah, there's my rant. You know, and it's like it is what it is. We got to deal with these systems that these people put into place. But if anybody's listening to this that doesn't think we should cut taxes, you know, explain it to me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments. You know, if you want to come on this show, look, like, we can figure that out. You could Skype in or whatever. Like, I want to know if I'm wrong and why. But all I see when I see the opposition is I don't see anybody stating facts. You know, they don't use data to decide things. They use emotion. And I'm like, well, that seems like a super flawed way to think. If you're emotional about your data, you know, humans are like really flawed, super flawed creature. It's like you can't base it off of what's in your head. You got to base it off of real, actual data. You know, and you would think that would not be coming from the Christian. It would be coming from the scientists. But the more scientist side of things, a lot of times they say they believe in science, they actually don't go off of data, which is interesting. It's another reason why I say that thinking in that way, it's not really thinking, trusting the science, as they say. It's more like, you're acting based on your faith and what you think is going on, and it is faith and not actuality. You know, these laws that I've been talking about, they're universal concepts for everybody. So this system is set up to be this way, if that makes any sense. And essentially, you're affected by it, whether you like it or not. Let's change to this pistol. To keep running out of bullets. And so, even if you don't go along with this system, you're still going to be forced into the consequences of it. And so, you know, money, taxes, all that stuff. Since it represents our work, our service to each other, if you don't actually do the service, so essentially if you're on welfare your whole entire life and you don't work, you're gonna deal with the consequences of that action. And it's never positive. Meanwhile, if you find a way to help or serve a lot of people, you're gonna be rewarded. And you know, obviously there's exceptions here, but that's why we see CEOs making all this money. Everybody thinks, well, that, you know, they might not even do all the manual labor, quote unquote, that all their workers do. But what are they actually accomplishing? This is what you need to look at. They're serving more people with their work. You know, so like if they're able to keep the company going, then all these people have jobs, so they're serving their employees. And you know, those people, a lot of people just like having a job. They don't want to be a business owner or entrepreneur or whatever. And so they're all being served whether they know it or like it or not. You know, some people really don't like having jobs. They complain a lot. And I guess they would rather just do nothing. But that's not the way the law is set up. The universal law, or God's law, is set up that we are to serve each other. And when you serve each other, what is that? You get paid for. You know, you get the consequences. Like you reap what you sow. That's what that means, to some extent. And so, basically, you know, stated is that if you're in some sort of welfare state your whole life, you're not going to be gaining as much as others. Is this a door? I think that's a door, but I can't go through it. I think that's where that box is. So how do I open that door now? So anyways, so if you figure out how to serve a lot of people, your customers and your employees, then you end up like this big, highly paid CEO. And it's like, well, why is it that way? And I don't know that it's fair. I don't know that it's supposed to be fair. A lot of people are like, well, you know, I do the work, so I should get paid more. And I'm like, all right, well, but how many people do you serve? Maybe you do the work or all the work or whatever, but you only serve the amount of people that you serve, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's like that person that's the CEO, they're responsible for you, all the customers, making sure all that stuff happens. But you're only responsible for your little bit, you know? So a lot of people don't think about it that way, but that's the actual way it is. And so if you come up, like, think about YouTube, you know, if I can fix one dryer for one customer, I'm gonna get paid so much for that one dryer. But if I film it and put it on the internet and help a whole bunch of people fix their dryers because they copy me of what I do, then I've helped a lot more people. And if they subscribe and watch my videos, then maybe I'll get paid a lot more for that one dryer. So that one, but I'll be serving a lot more people, right? Instead of serving one person, I'm now serving
Should be safe now.
a lot more.
Let's get to the Drakensberg so you can find that AI you need.
You know you got no chance, Vault Hunter. I got an army and you got a precocious little asshole. Drakensberg is mine, not yours. You can pour as many liquid farts into the ground
course, no, that's a fire guy. So we can pull out our ice guns. So, yeah. So if we can, the more people we can serve, sort of the better off we're gonna be, right? Got him frozen. Gonna run out of oxygen down here though. Probably gonna run out of bullets too. Yeah, it's resistant on that. So I gotta use. Oh, of course, these ones are ice ones. And how does that work? One of them is resistant to fire, and one of them is resistant to ice. We gotta sit here and we can do this. Just switch back and forth, I guess.
I welcome your attack, fool. I'm nearly frozen.
How come he's not freezing anymore? Guess he's done. There we go. Nice. Oh no, we got these other. We got another one.
Cold.
Oh, do I have to like not stand on that thing? Is that the way it works? Did I walk under the thing? Just whack these guys.
I'm turning into an icicle.
But yeah, it's like if you can help a lot more people, you know, you're gonna make a lot more money. It's just the way it is. And probably the way it should be. You know, people that figure out how to help more people, like we should boost them up in society. It's good for all of us, right? Like, we all win in that situation, essentially. Guess maybe I'll try this shotgun. If they figure out a better way, then we all win. Maybe I can use this thing on him. Alright, guess that worked pretty good. Just start blasting him with this stuff. Gotta reload. That's not
Just
good.
keep shooting, fools.
If we get smart people to solve problems that we all have, then we all win. You know, that's where we're all moving in an
Nearly
upward
frozen.
projection at that point. If we squash smart people with over-regulation and taxes, we all lose. So this is the concept that we need to start pushing in our society, you know? And we can't do it with forcing things to be. So essentially, economically, the government cannot force certain industries to thrive. You know, they can't regulate in that way. We need to, you know, there's a reason that the tax code is the way it is, to let businesses thrive, because that's how you make your money. If you need money and you don't want to start your own business, which is extremely difficult, it doesn't help, it's made harder by the government, then you need to work for somebody. Well, it would be good for you to let them be under-regulated to some extent, so that you can do what you need to do, and you help them, they help you, sort of everybody moves upward, right? I don't even know if I want to play this anymore. I guess I'll travel, then it will save, and maybe I'll start over there. But I mean, hopefully that makes sense. If anybody's still listening to this, I guess I've been going for 2 hours. It's like, that's what I've been thinking about a lot lately. Thinking about what I should do. Should I start a business again? Like, should I?
This used to be Sarpedon's own ship, you know. Before she got promoted, I mean. They say it went down before the cracking happened. Imagine that. Crash. Bang! Oh, would have been something to see.
John, I want an update on the Helios situation. Sir, I've got my best people working on a way to retake the station.
That's the Hyperion CEO. Is he as much of a bottle and glass arse as I hear?
Who the hell is that? That is the 10-year-old boy we hired to help us. You're fired, John.
Yeah, so what what do I do career-wise? Like, I need to make more money. I can't do the things I want to do with the amount that I make. Like, I want to rebuild my Blazer. That's going to be like 10 grand at least. So I got to take care of these kids and, get them raised up and everything. It's like, this is all a lot to do with no time and no money. So do I try to push into a business that's going to take my time and it might eventually have a bigger payoff? Or do I push myself into a better career that pays more, or even just getting promoted in this career that pays more, but it's not really necessarily what I like to do, and I mean, there's always a trade-off. It's really hard to figure out.
I'm always happy to take your money.
But, that's the issues of the day, I guess. Well, I think I'm going to turn this off for a minute. I might come back on for today, who knows. Probably go walking, do my outdoor workout pretty soon here. But thanks for watching and everything else. Subscribe or whatever. Hopefully I'll get rid of this cold soon and the situation will get better. But I'm sure I'll be back on tomorrow with more Borderlands or something else. But, yeah.